It is episode 44 of the Blood, Saint, and Beers podcast. We are back this week again because we streamed yesterday. We did the co-stream of the Gamescom Opening Night live thing, but hey, we're here to talk about that. Some other stuff has happened since then,
which you can go watch on our YouTube channel. We're on our website, bloodsaintandbeers.com.
Yep, it's all out there if you want to find it. If you don't know where to find it, just tweet at us or ask us. We'll tell you where to go. All that good stuff.
We'll tell you to good luck. Google it.
But how are you doing this week, Saints? We talked a little bit yesterday, but we haven't conversed too much since our Apex sessions.
True. Oh man, we've been Apex fiends. Maybe not the past few days, but yeah, we've been on a little bit of a binge with Apex. That's actually been super fun. I've not binged on a video game in like a little bit, so that's been pretty good. But just busy because I'm moving in the next couple of weeks.
So you packing all up, or are you waiting until last minute to pack?
The sound booth is gone. It's actually in a bundle of moving blankets and PVC pipes on the floor over here. Just donating, selling, and packing a lot of things because I'm moving to a smaller space. So right. Been busy. What about you? What you been up to? Been playing Rage.
Yeah, I've been figuring out what I want to work on next in terms of speedruns and stuff. And let's go to weird text. Anyways, but one of the things that popped up was like, oh, I haven't played Rage 2 and I've been meaning to do that. So I realized like they're pretty good runs. People I know, people that run Prey and Doom and all this other stuff that I run Rage as well, and they seem to like it. They're still going with it. So I was like, I'll check it out. I'll play through it, see if I like it, and then go from there. And as soon as I started playing it and felt the movement in that game, I was like, all right, I have to do runs, at least New Game Plus stuff.
Why New Game Plus?
So the reason I like New Game Plus in that is because your movement and stuff gets upgraded as you play, and the movement and stuff's really what draws me. So not have that instantly and have to work up to it gets kind of annoying. And New Game Plus, you get all your movement out of the way. You have all the abilities, so you can just move really fast, like how I think it should start off. But
like origami kind of situation. Like you might as well have these movement abilities.
Well, I've been describing Rage 2 as like the gameplay of Doom, like Doom 2016 in a Borderlands world. So it's like have Doom 2016, but you can't like your jumps completely nerfed. You can't sprint fast and do all this stuff. It's like, do you want to play that, or do you want to play it where you have the ability to double jump and stuff right off the bat, where you can dash around and do all this crazy stuff?
Like, just give me the things to do the things.
I will probably do some 80% stuff at some point just to see how it is, see if I can get by it. Because that also seems like a decent run. It's like an hour and a half, and New Game Plus is about an hour at the moment. But I did one run just to kind of learn the route, and I need to go back to it because I did that last night and then felt absolutely dead tired. So went to sleep instead.
So you wasted no time. You're already learning the run. I
played through it. Today's Tuesday, so I did most of my playthrough, like probably like 80-90% on Sunday. Did the last 20 to 10% yesterday. Then did a run right after. Well, I watched through Creeper Hunter's world record, and then he was in chat. I was like, I'll just do a run and get through it, and if I miss stuff, you can help me out with that. So I could just put it in my memory for later. And we'll go back to it.
Yep. Shouts to Creeper.
Yep, getting that world record. He has both New Game Plus and 80% at the moment.
Hell yeah.
He doesn't have 100%, but we'll go.
How many runners are there for that game?
Depends on the category, not a lot. I think 80% has like around 10, maybe a little more, maybe less.
That's not bad. Are you considering submitting it for a GDQ?
No. If GDQ submissions were a little while off, sure. One, because I just don't feel like if I just picked up a game that I will have a run good enough and a commentary good enough to submit it. Like if these were submissions like 2 months from now, where I really knew the game, could really talk about it while playing, sure. But to me, it's like, I don't know if it's going to get there. Maybe I'll drop this in 2 weeks. So it's like, I don't want to submit it just after learning it and then see what happens. I know Dangerous, he has any percent in the GDQX, the one at TwitchCon. I think he's planning on submitting New Game Plus for AGDQ, and he's like second place at the moment anyway. So it's like, all right, he's planning on, if no one was going to submit it, and if I could get a decent time in like a week, maybe I'd submit it then. But he's planning on submitting it. He has a better time. He knows the run, so just let him do it, which is fine by me. I got other plans in the works.
It's always a fun position to be in. It's basically my position with my friend Pedro. It's like, if the guy who's got a better time submits it, that's that.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I always feel about games, because I'm not always the top runner. Like when I submitted I Am Bread or Dishonored 2, it's like, I know I'm not the top runner, and those guys are like crazy good at the game, but
you can still showcase it.
Right, they're also European and have like no likelihood or interest in going to GDQs because of the cost and just like timing. Like they have to fly overseas in the middle of January or the middle of summer. Yeah, thousands of dollars to go and showcase this game. So it's like, if they don't want to go, okay, they're out. And it's like, then all the other runners like have no interest in going. So it's like, well, I'm not terrible at the game. I'm not the best, but I would say above average usually in those runs if I decide to submit them. Like if I feel like I'm just like average at the run and I don't have a good time and don't put on a good show, I won't submit it. But if I feel like I'm in the top like 10% of runners or whatever it may be, like more towards the good than the bad, I'll submit it and be like, okay, I can put on a good show. I can grind this for a bit, get a better time, and hopefully get more people into the run. Because ultimately that's what GDQ is about. It's just like going there, showing off the game, doing it for charity, helping to raise money. It's not necessarily getting the best run possible. You go and it's like, hey, if you guys are interested, this looks cool to you. You know, you can come join the community and learn to run it yourself and that kind of stuff. So,
bro, that's exactly it. Because when I ran Max Payne 2 at, I don't remember which GDQ it was. It's all a blur. But like after that, a lot, like double or triple the amount of people started running Max Payne 2, and my time is dog shit now. Like the kids who came in and just started, they found more stuff, to be fair, and they got way better. But I talked to them every once in a while. They're like, dude, yeah, it was awesome that you did that run. And I'm like, I'm not shit, apparently. You guys are way better than me. This is ridiculous. It's like, it's cool to see.
It's like your Phantom Menace run. It's a game. How many people played or like ran before your GDQ? And then like now people want to do races and stuff.
3 runners.
Yeah.
3 total. And one was Puri Puri, who was like a really good runner, and he found most of the like bigger stuff that made that run like a lot better. But yeah, so some people pick that up, and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if you want to do that, but it is interesting.
Yeah, it's just like you never know.
Getting more people is good,
because it's like if you stream Phantom Menace on Twitch, it's like, you know, so many people are ever going to stumble across that, but you put it on a GDQ stage where, you know, people who don't even watch speedrunning, it's like, oh, I'll tune in, see what it's about and whatever. It's like, oh, Phantom Menace looks like a fun game.
Yeah, I played this when I was a kid.
Yeah, they're not necessarily looking, or they would even know like, oh, he's not the greatest runner. He's not doing these crazy strats that I've never seen before and have no knowledge of. It's like he's putting on an entertaining show. I'm gonna pick up this game to play it or something.
And that's what it's all about. It's about putting on a show. Yeah. Have some fun, but go fast.
Yeah, go fast and eat
What else
ass.
have you been up to? Other than what was that you said about asses?
Go fast and eat ass.
Oh, okay, cool. What else have you been up to other than Rajay 2?
I mean, that's been kind of taking the bulk of my time. Because I didn't stream a whole lot last week. Been kind of working on Absalov End of Game some more. Got that time down. I think we talked about it last time, but I haven't run it since then. And then today, I think yesterday, someone did a run and found a new out of bounds skip in the early parts of the game. To be fair, it's kind of the same out of bounds. You just do it twice in a row, and it seems to skip like 2 missions and saves 20 minutes.
I can see that. It's you and him, and his time is just like, suddenly. So
I had a 140, which was pretty solid. I could have beaten it, but he got a 126 or something like that with this new skip.
Yeah.
Look, like timing wise, it looks like it cuts out about 22 minutes. So I could probably get like below 120 if I did another run with it.
That's nutty.
It's actually crazy because I found a very similar area to clip back in with. So he clips in after getting the first key in the game for anyone that's played it. After you go to Niflheim and come back, you clip in there and you can get a cutscene. which I found, but then it soft locks later because you don't have an item that lets you bypass an elevator. But if you happen to clip
Hmm.
back out right after that cutscene, then clip back into the same area, it thinks you've gone through the next mission, which is where the elevator is that soft locks, and you just bypass that elevator entirely, cutting out the second, not only the first mission now, but the second mission as well.
Huh.
And you get back, like you go back to where the first cutscene happens, and the second one activates, and it's like, all right, you're good, you're fine. So,
Is this like pretty heavy out of bounds type of speed run?
no, so like the out of bounds there is the only one so far that we have. There's
Oh,
potential for more. You could even take this like another 30 minutes into the game. But there's like
huh.
the room you have to get into is completely sealed off. Like the entire last half of the game, even just like casually has like no chance of out of bounds because the way it works, it's very walking simulator esque. We're like running through
Gotcha.
these halls and potentially you could bypass some stuff, but if you do, it's not going to do much and you're going to waste a lot of time doing it. It's like the early game stuff is where you have to find the out of bounds, and a lot of stuff is just sealed off, and you need certain keys to advance. So it's a good mix. It's a really good find by him,
Hmm.
which is cool.
That's pretty crazy. Oh, he's. I'm just skipping through his run, and he's during cutscenes he does this weird, totally insignificant thing, but he like splits all the way like to the end of his run, and then just like goes backwards in his splits.
Hmm.
I was like, wait, why is he golding every split now? What's happening? But he's just goofing.
Yeah, so
He's just being a goofball.
it's really cool to see this guy. I don't remember his name he goes by for speedrunning, but he set up his speedrun.com page and YouTube like entirely just to put this video up. Like it's his first speedrun, messing with it and stuff. It's like
Nah,
that's cool.
he's
I think it's
he's
the
a
same.
Hungarian.
Yeah, I think it's the same guy that like messaged me on Twitter about some stuff. It uses a different name, so I can't confirm if it's the same guy or not. But he like asked about some skips and stuff, and I told him like, hey, yeah, I found something similar in this area, but you soft lock later on. And then he never messaged back after this, and then someone else posts this run, or it could be the same guy. I think it is, where it's actually useful. So it's like I'm glad he kept going with that and didn't listen to me saying it's not useful, because
Yeah, I
it
mean,
works. So that's cool.
new shit's constantly being found. It's not like your speed game's ever solved. I mean,
Yeah.
we weren't going to talk about this, but Majora's Mask just had a huge time save in it. You can get to a debug menu by playing the Song of Soaring like 74 times or 73 times, which like changes your warp index, and then you get a debug menu, and then you can put stuff right into your inventory.
Yeah.
Anything from songs to items, and it's just like, what? Like, why did that take this long to find? Was that popular of a game? It's like
Yeah.
it puts things in perspective with like your random speed games you like experiment with, and you're like, there's probably some real crazy shit in these games that no one will ever find, but you can do.
Yeah. It's like why when you go to pick up a speedrunning, especially one that's already like heavily run, it's like it's good
Mm-hmm.
to just learn from those, but it's also nice to go through the game on your own. One, play it on your own just so you have an understanding of the game, and two, like try to route it on your own before you look at what other people do. That way, it's you have different perspectives on it. Like, oh, maybe I can go out of bounds here or do this.
Oh yeah,
Skip this thing entirely. It's like then you go and watch the run. It's like okay, they do this to kind of bypass what I was thinking, or you merge the two ideas together. Because if you just go and learn straight off of their run, you may not see those things of like, oh, well, maybe you could do this instead. Because there's like plenty of times when I've learned to run or helped other people learn runs. So I was like, can't you just jump over there instead, or would it be faster to spawn?
oh yeah.
Like for Rage 2, I was asking Creeper when he was in chat. I was like, wouldn't it be faster just to spawn a vehicle there and fly over this instead of running through? And it's like, even if that wasn't faster, just like asking those questions, like I think
Yeah.
that looks like a better idea. Maybe I'll ask someone who knows and
And
test
it'll
it.
either be like, oh, we don't do that because that actually makes
Mhm.
this NPC in this part of the map do this or something stupid, or it is faster.
Yeah, it can
And
be one thing though. Like they
yeah,
have a reason. Like they're in Rage 2, there's a lot of things they do to not soft lock the game. Because like if you fast travel during certain dialogues, it will soft lock because you didn't finish the dialogue. So it's like
yeah,
you have to know that. But in other times, it's like they may say, "Oh, we didn't ever think of doing it that way," or we just it slipped our minds to test it. So
and on the flip side, um, even watching somebody learn a speed game that you've done, or just play through it because they intend to speedrun it. Like, for example, I was watching Author Blues. He wanted to learn Phantom Menace last year. And I was watching his stream because I was like, oh shit, Author Blues is going to learn Phantom Menace because like nobody runs that game. Then Author Blues is like, I'm going to pick this game up. And I was like, holy shit. And he actually would do some stuff that I didn't consider, or not, like nobody who has run the game before considered. He's like, why don't I just do this movement instead? And I was like, why don't we do that movement instead?
Yep.
That's like a second faster. What the fuck? It's just like some minor detail that like some other person from other speed games comes in, looks at this thing, and he's like, oh, I think this could work. And it's just like, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't consider this.
It's always nice to, like, if you're super heavy into a run too, like you're just grinding it day in, day out. It's like sometimes just take a couple steps away, you know, don't play it for a couple days, come back. And it's like, usually for me that helps like tremendously. One, just playing better, like it feels less stressful, like I'm not hitting a brick wall. And two, like you can think about those things, like maybe why do I jump right here instead of going left? Like you kind of start to see those pop up the more and more you do that. Like,
yep.
Especially if you're away from the game for a long time, you like, and if you go and like run other games. So it's like if I'm doing BioShock for like a week and I'm just grinding it, and I step away to play Wolfenstein for like a month and come back to BioShock, I'm like, oh, wait, okay, trying to relearn. It's like, why do we do this again? And
why did I do this?
You go through all the process. So
like,
it's like, yeah,
retime it, and you're like, wait, what I'm doing is half a second slower for no reason. Great. Speedrunning.
There's also a lot of stuff in Absolov I had like ideas about. I think I said it during my run, or like during my record. It's like, I wonder if you can like jump off this rock and run this way, and then like in this new record set by this guy, I can't remember his name once again. Like
Borstos.
He does exactly that. He like jumps off the rock and runs over there, and it's like it's quite clearly faster. It's like I'm glad he took the ideas I was talking about in my runs and actually tried them out, because I wasn't gonna go back and time them because I'm lazy. But he did, and it's just like, all right, now I know that they're faster. We can go with that instead of just being like, I wonder if that's faster, and continuing to do the old stuff. So it's like,
more runners is always better. And again, it comes back to what we were talking about. Exposure and GDQ or big marathons is always good because it gets more people. Because not only does it, people can find routes, but it also like gets people excited to work on stuff and put effort into timing stuff. Because when you're running a game by yourself, it's like really demotivating sometimes because you're just like, it's fucking whatever, uncontested time that I have, no one cares. But when other people are there, you're like, oh shit, I should do stuff.
Yeah, even when other people are there, sometimes it's you still get that unmotivated. If you get to like, if you're beating your own record time after time, you're just like, maybe I'll just wait until someone starts competing with me to come back to it. It's like, when no one else is close and you just keep beating your time, it's like, well, I could beat this again, or I could just, you know, play something else with more competition.
Yeah, it's like, how far should I actually push this before I'm just done, absolutely done. On that note, shout outs to Votium and Mirror's Edge, because he's been PBing at first place like a madman. He's now got Mirror's Edge 80% down to 27 minutes, 58 seconds.
Yeah, he's incredible.
First 27 ever. That's absolutely fucking crazy. Insane. And he still missed the crane skip once, I think, or twice,
probably,
which is a fucking ridiculous skip anyways. But yeah, that's like one of those things where it's like he's just on a grind and he's continuing.
Yeah.
He's like, I guess I'll keep pushing it while I'm playing real good. Well, but that's, I mean, that's not an unpopular game. There's
to go back to
228 times here.
To go back to GDQs for a second and picking up new runs. Has a GDQ ever convinced you to pick up a new run? Like that was, you saw at the event, not like, oh, maybe I'll get back into speedrunning and I'll do something else, but like you watched a run there, or, you know, at home when it was like 2013, 2012, that kind of stuff. And like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll go pick it up. Because for me,
yes,
I watched Adam AK do Amnesia, The Dark Descent, and I picked that up.
The classic.
Because I watched him.
2013?
Yeah, it was 2013, I believe. I watched him do that run. I was like, he's making a lot of mistakes, and he's like a top runner. I could probably get a better time than this, you know, being like much younger and being more naive of just like, oh, it's about just putting on a show, not getting a best run. But I was like, he's a top runner and he's playing like, he's making like this many mistakes and stuff. It's like, I feel like I'm better than that, so I picked it up. And, no, I'm not. I'm terrible at Amnesia.
That's quite a speed game. That
Yeah.
is an out of bounds speed game. This is just
Mhm.
out of bounds of the game, which is fine. That's funny though. I remember watching that, and actually from that same GDQ, I think HDQ 2013 was one of those like landmark moments, watershed moments, or whatever in speedrunning, because a lot of people I talked to, myself including, I talked to myself, uh, found these speedrunning communities through YouTube recommended videos. And
Mhm.
those recommended videos, there was a time where it was just all AGDQ 2013 VODs, and that's how I found it.
Well, I
So I was,
watched it live. I'd seen like VODs
oh,
before,
okay.
and then
Oh shit. Okay.
somehow I think I was on the SDA forums beforehand, and then watched it.
Whoa.
I don't exactly remember, but I remember watching quite a few things live from HDQ 2013.
Oh, that's hype. I wish I did. That would have been so cool. But yeah, I watched Cosmo's 2018 HGQ 2013 Ocarina of Time run, where he explained the new any percent route immaculately. That was such a good run to watch. I showed so many people that shit. And then I watched a Siglemix 120 star
Mhm.
uh GDQ 13 run. And that was the point where I was like, this is what I need to be doing. Because before that point, I was like just doing challenge runs of multiple video games,
Mhm.
like Dark Souls. Like, can I beat Dark Souls without leveling, without changing my equipment? I would just do challenge shit. And then I saw, oh, speedrunning. That's like time trials, but for the whole game. That's pretty cool. And I might do that. And then I saw that there was like kind of an online community for it who like gathered together to do it. And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. So I picked up SM64 and Mega Man X because I saw both of those. Those were my first speed games, and then Jet Set Radio was my first game I like took seriously. But yeah, SM64 was the game I saw, and I was like, I want to do that. And then I needed to do races to get on Speedruns Live, so I was like, I'm gonna play 16 star
Oh
way too
boy.
many times. And then I played that too many times, and I still never got on. I have no idea why. But yes, I did pick up SM64
Hmm.
of all games that
Yeah, of all
I run
games.
now. Like that's not even, I'm not a Nintendo runner at all, but
No.
uh, I will stand firm that that is a good fucking speed game.
Yeah.
The movement is very technical and interesting and hard and fun.
I think the only problem I have with SM64 is both a game and as a
The
speedrun
community,
is well that but
that's really bad.
the camera in that game is
Oh,
I don't like it so much.
it's like a double-edged sword. It's really interesting because the camera's dog shit, but the camera is also like completely necessary for like really precise
Yeah.
setups. Like you're like there are multiple tricks where it's like, okay, run here, then do the camera right left, like see right, see left, and then you'll be lined up to do this like thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like casually the camera's dog shit. It's terrible. It's
Hmm.
just the worst thing. But that's what the N64 had at the time. It's just like, you didn't have the other stick for something. You had the weird ass fucking controller. My other on top of those things you said, uh I cannot I still don't understand why the SM64 community does not want to run VC. Like GameCube VC is what I'm talking about. The GameCube emulator version, which has less lag than N64.
I
I
think
think
it's
it's technically faster.
just one of those things. It comes from the older community. It's much like how Doom is like the older classic Dooms are run on ultra violence. It's just like that's how they were originally found, and anything else is sacrilege. So it's like if you don't run on
Yeah.
N64, it's just like, are you really running the game? Then it's like it's
Yeah. You have to run it on N64 and you start your time on booting up the console. It's just
yeah.
like those two, it's just two weird things. It's like everyone just adheres to, even though as a very purist speedrunner, I'm like, okay, if the VC version's faster and it's an official version, why are you not using that? Like, what's going on there? Why was there no development in this
Yeah.
community? And everyone's like, no, you can't deviate from the old ways. It's like growing up with a fucking Catholic family.
Hmm.
It's like you're not gonna change like to something that's better. I don't get it.
Well, on the
But
opposite end, you have Ocarina of Time using what is it, the IQ? Is that what it was called? Like the
Yeah, and then yeah, they use any means necessary to get ahead. It's like maybe SM64 and Ocarina of Time are the two political sides.
yeah. If
One's
only.
left, one's right, or something.
I don't know if that like using VC is also from like the Japanese community or not. They were kind of the ones that started like the whole start on console, like restart the console, and that's when you start the timer and all that stuff. And that was pretty big
Yeah.
back in the day. Doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of high level Japanese runners anymore.
No,
Like there used to be.
I think it was just kept, and I've heard this before from I think Siglemic, and I think he said basically we're gonna keep doing that because it's just
The way it's been.
I'm not gonna say Siglemic said it because I don't know, but somebody said we do it basically so we can keep comparing to like the oldest like known runs of the game and just like keep this like big archive of runs. We all start on the same time on the same console. And I'm just like, that's a shitty response because it's still not faster. It's not the fastest version.
Yeah, I mean, I
Coming from
understand that.
PC speedruns, we're like, oh, PC versions are usually the fastest.
I understand
Just
that side of like wanting to
somehow.
keep the history and all the runs, like so you can see how it's evolved over time. But it's like you're also just limiting yourself by staying to those old things. Like if you change the entire conditions of the run, sure, that's usually when things get split off into different categories and different stuff. But like, you can switch to consoles and not like you can. That's a mark in history. That's how things change. But
yeah, true. And I mean, I think we can just sit here and be like console runners, lol, because we're like, as PC runners, we're like, okay, yeah, this game came out for PS2, but on PC, it's like clearly faster and you can do things better. Because
many
consoles.
games have switched over to playing on PC when they get ported over.
Oh yeah,
the releases. So,
but then when it comes to like Nintendo runners, they're like, there's a VC port on GameCube that's faster, but they can't like make that connection that they should switch over. They're like, no, N64 is what came out for originally, so that's what you run it for. And it's like, are you guys speedrunners or like
Nintendo runners are
purists?
Their own community unto themselves, right? They're just they do things differently than everybody else. You know, they make up 80% of GDQ runs. They're the big boys. They make the rules.
Yeah, apparently they know everything, you know. Oh, Blair in chat. Google Stadia runners. What's the game coming out for Google Stadia only? Gylt, Gylt, which looks pretty good. That was at Gamescom. They showed that game again. It's like a third person kind of Little Nightmares game.
It's a horror-esque slash Alan Wake slash
Alan Wake. Yeah, that's a better comparison. Game. It's like Little Nightmares, Alan Wake unite on Google Stadia.
Woo.
Woo. But yeah, I was actually talking to you before the podcast, and I was like, we'll probably get into a speedrun rant at some point because GDQ submissions are coming up. If you want to talk about that just real quick, GDQ 2020 submissions are going up in 2 days from now, August 22nd, 2019. And they will be up for a little over a week.
Yeah, so like 9 days, I think. So it goes from, I can't even think. That'd be Thursday. Thursday to like next Sunday or something like that.
Yeah, so, September 2nd, which is next Monday.
They have
or 2 Mondays.
New thing that they're trying out. So in like a month after submissions close, you know, if a game comes out between then you can offer it up there. And they have like 3 hours allotted to like new games coming out. So it's like, do you hold off on submitting a 5th game, and you know maybe Control comes out during submissions, and that's like a run you want.
Control's like one of the big ones that fits in that
or WoW Classic. You know, if you want to submit that for any goddamn reason.
First to level 10.
I have.
I mean, that could be a thing.
I have about 4 of my 5 submissions kind of planned out. Still kind of debating on that 5th. I don't know what that's going to be.
Run us through it. What are you looking for here?
For my 5th or my other 4? My other 4 I don't want to necessarily say until I put them out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Some big things. Some things I've submitted before, but kind of in a better way. So I got some. I sent it. Well, probably next week when submissions are live, like when we put stuff through, I'll talk about it. But I had to email the committee or just like the GDQ staff about some questions. Like, I've kind of submitted these things in the past, and there's no ruling. There's no like way to really submit it. So, how should I go about submitting it? And they've kind of clarified it. So it looks like I'll have some better chances getting some stuff in, but we'll see. But yeah, I have
Okay.
4 out of 5 still thinking of the 5th. It's not going to be Rage 2. Unfortunately, I think Blair Witch comes out too late to be like considered, possibly, because that might end up being a pretty cool run. Because I think that will come out during the next submission process, and it's like there's no way I can get a route down in time.
They don't have a date for the. So here's how their second wave of submission works. So they have 3 hours reserved for the whole GDQ for the second wave of games. And they said an additional submission period will open up approximately 3 weeks before the registration deadline. That's their date. I don't know when that will be. It'll probably be October-ish, maybe September, late September.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. They don't. They could just put a date there, but they don't. I don't
Usually
know.
they put up like registration dates and stuff, and usually it comes out like when the games list does. Usually
They don't have a registration date, just submission date.
it's like, oh, here's the games list, so you know whether or not you want to go. Is kind of the way they've been doing it lately. So it's.
Yeah, I feel like after submissions, it'll get more clear what that time frame is going to be.
Hopefully, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. When does Blair Witch come out?
It comes out the end of September. I know that much. So it's.
I feel like that might come out exactly when this period opens up.
I feel like
maybe. Yeah. But yeah, some games are coming. Like Control's probably the most notable.
It comes out the
one.
16th. So maybe.
Maybe with like a week or 2 of routing.
Yeah, maybe. Also, depending on whether it's a good run or not, because it's made by the people who make Layers of Fear 1 and 2. And it's like people run those games.
True.
You know, we have some friends that run at least 1. I don't know who's picked up 2 as of yet, but for me personally, it's like those aren't runs I'm really interested in doing. So maybe this one's supposed to have some combat and it's more in the woods. So it's like possibly be a cool run. We'll see.
Love woods.
Love the woods. You can pet the dog. Incentive right there for GDQs.
I mean, people love dogs. So that's all you got to put in your submission. Just dog. So yeah, submissions are coming up. I don't remember where we were going with this, but
do you have any plans for submissions? I'll ask you that.
I have 2 submissions I'm planning. That's it.
Okay.
If for my friend Pedro, so there's another top burner, Sabatum. He's really fucking good.
Oh, I also take it back. It's August 30th was when it comes out. I was looking at, I just searched Blair Witch, assuming that the game would be the top link. But it's Blair Witch 2016 movie came out September 16th, 2016. I didn't read the year. So
you should submit the movie.
It comes out in 10 days. So probably a little bit better chances of getting in. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. That's a few days after Control comes out. So fuck yeah.
And WoW Classic.
And WoW Classic. And then it was supposed to be Shenmue 3 coming out at the end of August, but they delayed that, which is the tradition of Shenmue 3. My friend Pedro, I ran it. I'm good at it. Whatever, no big deal.
Wow,
but Sabatum, he's really good at it too. He's got a time that's like 20 seconds faster than mine, and so we're pretty close. And with a run that's over an hour, that's relatively close. If he doesn't submit it, then I probably will, because he's in UK. So I don't know his plans. If he is into a GDQ, if he does submit it, that'd be great.
Yeah.
He has better time than me, and I'd be more than happy to couch that. That would be so fun. I would love to know a run, be super into it, and not have to run it.
Yeah,
that would actually be great. But I would love to run it as well. So it's like a win-win for me.
Yeah, it's
and then the other game
Well,
Oh, what were you gonna
just
say?
for comparison's sake, it's like one of the runs we're probably gonna submit. Me and Amerlin is Wolfenstein Youngblood, but
Sure.
Brian Otto and TFC have a much better time. They've been doing way more practice than us, and we'll probably continue to do that because they seem pretty focused on it right now. Besides their own projects,
It's like their project.
yeah, it's like me and Amerlin want to compete. We just haven't found the time to really do a whole lot of runs. So it's like more than likely, they'll submit it, and I think it has a good chance of getting in. It's like less than
Yeah,
an hour now, co-op run with really cool stuff. It's like if they get that in, it's like me and Amerlin on a couch. Like,
that'd be actually epic.
yeah, it's a co-op race.
A
If
co-op race, holy shit, that'd be so confusing.
if only, but GDQ are not great about multiple PC setups at the same time. Like the Borderlands 3, getting
Yeah,
3 people set up on PC was pushing their limits. So having 4 people for a co-op race, it's like out of the picture. Like
yeah.
they would need
Four
like
people,
2 days to set that up.
4 people for a console race like Super Metroid. That's like whatever. You just capture all the capture cards. You're done. PCs, it's just like no, it's black magic. No one knows what's going on.
Yeah, I mean,
It's really weird.
they they use capture cards. So I don't really
Oh,
see.
do they?
Yeah, they use capture cards on the PCs. So I don't know
Well,
really
then they
where
just
their
hate
struggle
PC
comes
speedrunners.
from. They just don't ever want to set up 4 PCs or more than 2 PCs in the
Yeah,
stream setup, which is weird, but
yeah.
yeah,
A
it's
co-op
what it is.
race. A co-op race not only would be technically befuddling to them, but man, I don't know how you feel about this, but I fucking hate races for GDQs.
I
I
don't
don't care what
mind
game it is.
I don't mind some races, but they have a stupid amount of races these days. And I think it's because there's so many games that have been in marathons before. It's like, well, we don't want to just keep having the same showcase, so we'll make it a race. Let 2 runners get on stage.
SM64 or
Yeah,
something like that.
but it's like every other Nintendo games is like, here's a race, here's another race, here's a relay race, here's a blindfolded race, here's uh Mario
Yeah.
Maker 2 race, and it's like, oh my god, it's like it's not bad, but once again, you're showing off the game, and you can't really do that in a race unless you have a really good and knowledgeable commentator, and you can't get Spike Vegeta for every run.
Yes. And it's like you need the perfect commentators to do well at the same time. Uh and you also need the runs to not be like too confusing. Like
Mm-hmm.
even with like Super Metroid, like a lot of people know that game very well, but not everyone does. So if people are on 2 different screens, if I see 4 people on 4 different screens,
Yeah, it's hard to tell who's like
I'm
ahead.
just like, I'm done. I do not even care about what's going on because it's not like watching soccer. Like, okay, this team has the ball. They're going towards this goal. I clearly know what's going on. It's like 4 people are on 4 different screens, not competing against
Mm-hmm.
each other. And apparently some person's doing a different route, and I'm just like, I could not give a fuck about this race anymore. That's
Yeah,
just my attitude
especially
towards
when
races.
games have different routes where it's like we don't even the commentators like we don't really know who's ahead right now because they're doing 2 different routes entirely and we won't know for another 30 minutes. It's like well,
Yeah,
okay, it
it's
makes it
like,
really hard
why
for
did
me
you
to
do
follow.
that?
They're like we have to commentate this trick but also this trick that he's doing at the exact same time. It's like okay, I can't even if I
It's
knew
like,
the game, I can't really follow this. So not knowing the game is even harder to follow.
yeah, it's way too many stimuli in my brain to keep up with, and I just instantly shut down. I'm just like, nope, don't know why this is in the game. You could have
And
a 2 person race.
Lone Magi in chat brings up I hate the race layouts. Like GDQ layouts are pretty good, but they still, for me, leave a lot to be desired. And especially the race layouts, I feel like there's a lot of dead space, or like they throw in
Yeah,
too much stuff in like weird spots. Especially like 4 player races, it's like I feel like you could clean this up quite a bit, make it look better.
yeah, it just looks slightly off.
Which
I
is
don't
like
know what it is.
for like the 4 player race and stuff. It's like went back and watched the QuakeCon Doom Eternal race. It's like there's some cool stuff. You know, you have like one go full screen for a full trick, and you can talk about what's going on there and like zoom out and like maybe if 2 people are really close out of
Oh
the 4,
yeah,
you just bring the 2 in. It's like you don't have to have all 4 screens on at the same time, and like
yeah.
there's stuff you can do like dynamically.
Significant stuff. Yeah, it's like for that one, it was like they actually like, oh, let's bring out this view. Like it actually zooms out and be like, okay, there's something happening here. We're not gonna distract you with like all this other shit. Look at this now, idiot. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yes, I want that. I want to be told what to look at because I don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Or
And
like
that's
you'll
actually a good
commentators
point.
say like, "Oh, look at X runner's name. And look at the trick he's doing." It's like, all right, well now I have to find out where on the screen that is before he's done doing the trick, so I can actually figure out
That's
what's
the
going
worst
on.
part. When people are like, "Oh my god," just like out of nowhere, I'm like, I don't know. There's 4 Super Metroids on the screen. They'll look like they're doing the same shit. I don't know what everyone just freaked out about. And like 90,000 other people are in my seat. And like there's 120,000 viewers. Over 90,000 people are like, something hype just happened.
Mhm.
Like, I'll be hyped too. Whatever.
One thing
I'm just like, no.
going back to like just that dynamic thing, I think a cool way of doing it is if you had one person that was like far in the lead, like not even close, you have kind of like have that squad streams now, like one big picture and then like the 3 streams underneath it. So it's like you're
Oh, that'd
watching
be
the
way
main one
better.
in the lead and then like the 3 behind it. If someone gets close to being in the lead, have it switch up to being 2 big streams and like maybe not even show the other 2 or just have them like really small beneath. And then, obviously if like 3 people are really close, you can figure out a layout for that. And it's like, if someone's like
I,
far behind, it's like we don't really need them taking up a quarter of the screen. Like, or if like
yeah,
2
I
people are
think
like super far behind and they're like someone's out of the race entirely, it's like now we just have a dead screen. It's like that space you can fill, but they just don't want to. Which I
well,
get that they're setting up so many games and they can't have layouts for every specific thing, but you can kind of create that stuff beforehand and just fit it to any mold,
it's not just
like game
so
specific.
that is the next logical step. But the problem becomes you just have whoever on tech staff and that whoever on tech staff, they need to be in
Mm-hmm.
tune with what's happening. They need to know the speed game. They need to know why certain things are like they need to be super on point.
Yeah.
And the way GDQ currently runs things, that's just whoever's scheduled for Super Metroid or whoever's scheduled for, Dead Cells race. And it's just like if that person doesn't know what's going on, they won't be able to even pull off something like that. Like you'd need dedicated tech staff who are trained, who know the
Mm-hmm.
speed game, who are like, I will coordinate and orchestrate the cameras. Like for the Doom thing, like that was their thing. They were there for the Doom Eternal race. They
Yeah.
were all focused on it, which is like
Well,
a exception.
to be fair, I don't think the people doing the broadcast PGL like knew the run. They just kind of like took cues from the commentators of like who's ahead, and then like they had someone back there like telling whoever was running the setup like, hey, zoom in on this guy or pull it out. Like they're so used to just doing esports stuff, like zooming in on certain angles, maybe if like they're the ones in the lead, with whatever games they're playing. I was trying to think like if they did Overwatch or something, like zoom in on one character who's doing really well or in a tight situation. Like
Oh
they're
yeah.
they're just so knowledgeable about when to cut to someone. They don't even really need to know the game. They just can realize, hey, this is a situation we should be watching, or they have someone
Hmm.
like beside them who can kind of read what's going on with the commentary and be like, all right, we need to go in. Like if they said, oh, BloodThunder's in the lead now, let's check out what he's doing. Like that would signal someone backstage to be like, hey, let's zoom in on what BloodThunder's doing and doing that there.
Hmm.
But yeah, having
Lone Mac.
having people who just wake up and it's like, all right, well, I got to go down and do tech. I've been drinking all night. Just woke up from 2 hours of sleep, and
I'm
this is
just
my
gonna go
first
get
tech
this thing
staff.
done.
So it's like they walk up and they're like, all right, I'll just sit here and do some stuff. I you know
I'll make sure the stream is working,
mm,
and then suddenly it's like a really complicated race. Lone Magi in chat brought up an interesting idea. I think might work kind of. Is that the couch has control for who's in the lead or what should be on the screen. I think if you had like kind of like a stream deck situation and like just somebody on the couch was like, oh shit, these 2 people, like they are what needs to be focused on. They press the buttons for the 2 people, and then the stream layout just goes to those 2 people. Maybe you have like little thumbnails of like the other runners down somewhere.
so that's
It's like, oh,
an
we
idea.
think you should look at this.
I don't think it's
Yeah, in practicality, it's like, fuck,
yeah,
that would be
that leads to a
ridiculous.
whole lot of trouble if people just like, oh, I'm just gonna mess around during this person's run and just hit all these buttons because I'm a big troll.
Well, I would hope
Yeah.
you'd get with those
So,
tech would get those people to
so
be
for
like,
like
hey, seriously, try to make this like
for
good.
big races, you know, I think that'd be fine if you had like dedicated commentary. Like if you had Spike Vegeta doing like Dead Cells, who like he's doing all the commentary, he knows the run, he's not doing the run himself. Like to have him, someone who they can kind of trust with it. Even then, I don't know if I'd trust Spike Vegeta. I love the man, but I don't know if I'd trust him with some tech issues like that.
Damn, dude. Yeah, shouts to Spike.
Going back to the
Go.
QuakeCon discussion that we had, you know, weeks ago about things we think they could implement, I love the idea of having the host more on camera and off, and it's like you could give the person hosting that control. So it's like, you know, they can read commentary, or you know, when they're not doing that, they can, because they're off screen, but they're still paying attention to what's going on. They could be the ones kind of controlling it. Maybe pass it over to them.
If the host had more of a role during runs, yeah, that would be great. Like if they guided things a little bit more than they do.
Yeah, instead of
like
just
even
being
at the beginning or start, beginning or end of runs. You know, not mid run, but you know,
yeah, something.
But you could have like somebody who should be on the couch be hosting as well, and then have control over that stuff. In a perfect world, that is a good idea.
And I realize a lot of these things, it's like, well, with their setup, it's like it could cause problems and be janky. It's like, look, go watch any GDQ VOD. There's already problems with their setup, with transitions and stuff of like figuring out the timings. It's like they already have issues. Like, yes, this would introduce potentially some more, but it's like it could also make the stream better.
Yeah,
you know,
try it and see.
Try it at GDQX, and if it doesn't work there, maybe not bring it to the main.
That's actually perfect.
Or
that's a perfect place to try shit like that. You know, it's like the Area 51 for GDQs. Test your experimental technologies at like GDQX, which is coming up sometime. I don't think anyone cares about it. I don't think anyone gives a fuck about it. Frame Fatales is going on, which is GDQ's female speedrun marathon. Plenty of good runs there. Our friend Cat Link ran Silent Hill 3.
Yeah. Did commentary for Silent Hill 2 and then did Silent Hill 3 herself. I haven't really been paying too much attention to this one just because it caught me completely off guard of like, oh, it's happening this weekend. So I haven't looked to see who else I know's in there, but I believe that's still going on if you want to check it out. It's just on the GDQ channel itself. It's like that's also a great place when they do stuff online like that with Frame Fatales. Like you can kind of test some layout ideas. Maybe you can't do all the transitions and stuff because it's not, you know, a live production, but you could maybe we do this kind of a layout for, I don't know if they have races or not. I think they do. Like we have some of that, and then if that works out, you know, you take it live to GDQ. If
that'd
not,
be great.
then I feel like GDQ just like they don't want to test stuff because they don't know how it's going to turn out. So they just like, oh, we're not going to try setting up 2 streams or 2 setups or whatever it may be. It's like you have all these other ways to test out stuff without being at a week-long event, like committing to a week of it and seeing like, oh, it's like 2 days in, we hate this idea, we don't want to do it anymore. It's like, all right, well, if you did it GDQX, it's just those 3 days. Or if you did it for an online marathon, you know, you can do it for one run. If it doesn't work, you know, you can have your backups in place. So it's like, just I like to see them experiment some more. That's kind of something ESA does quite a bit. They kind of take some risk for that. They've been doing 2 streams forever, and it works out great for them.
I would love to see a second GDQ stream, honestly.
Yep.
But, you know, maybe probably not, but maybe in the future.
Maybe. But just like the Apex developers, they might think we're just being dicks and assholes and freeloaders.
Transition.
So
smooth.
If anyone's been paying attention to the Apex drama, it's been happening around their Iron Crown event, something like that. I already forget the name. I don't pay attention to it.
Iron Crown, I think that's right.
I think it's Iron Crown. It caused some controversy with loot boxes where the devs were like, all right, you don't have to buy them through loot boxes. You can just outright pay for the skins, but the skins ended up being like $18 a piece. So people weren't happy. And then they decided to go on to Reddit, the developers. I think it was 2 community managers who did it, to be fair, not like the actual developers of the game. and we're
Yeah.
responding to some of the comments and stuff, and started taking things too personally, which is understandable with how those comments were. You know, when especially when you're working for EA, people are going to call you bad names. They're going to attack you personally, going for the jugular. And it's
Hmm.
you for developers, you have to be the better man in that situation. You have to take the high road, because if you respond like these two did, and start calling the people who are playing your game and taking the time to like respond to this stuff, obviously it's your core demographic. You start calling them assholes and dicks and like really going back and forth with them. One, it's just a bad look for you professionally, and it's you're going to alienate so many of your player base. Like, oh, you know, you guys are coming here to attack me. I'm not going to play your game anymore. And Apex is starting to dwindle more and more. They still have a good player base, but
Yeah.
it's not like a Fortnite where it keeps growing and growing. It's, you know, it's slowly going
It's
downhill. And
there.
when you start cutting out more of your audience by calling them assholes and freeloaders, it's not going to do you any favors. So even when the CEO of Respawn, Vince, I forget his last name. I'm bad with names. He came out and he
Vince Campella.
apologized. Yeah, apologized for it and everything. It's like,
I'm a fan of Vince Campella. When it comes to the producers or whoever developers, like you shouldn't do that. Yeah, don't get personal. That's really embarrassing.
I mean,
Uh,
to be fair to them
but
though, I think anyone who like read those comments could agree. Like, yeah, they were being major assholes and like going like death threats levels, like calling them out.
yeah, it's just like
But you
people
still
are
just don't
fucking
do it.
human. A company, you work for a company, if it gets like super personal to the point where people are like bringing up the names of your kid or something, it's like, yeah, you might like get in the emotional state where you snap, and it happens. I don't know. I didn't get mad about it. Like I've been playing Apex, and he just called me a freeloader, and I'm like, yeah,
To be fair, their
yeah, I am.
freeloader comment seemed tongue in cheek. Like it was like because they said, you know, you guys are a bunch of
It's it.
freeloaders, and then like in parentheses it said, and we love that. It's like obviously they love people playing their game. They don't have a problem because it's free to play that you're not buying skins, but it's like in context of everything else, you know that's gonna be a headline like, oh, they're calling you freeloaders. It's like it was more of a tongue in cheek thing, but it adds fuel to the
Even that.
fire.
Yeah, it does. Even the asshats thing. Like when I heard about that and read through it, I was like, okay, clearly he's mentioning like some people who are aggressively going after like these individuals who work on the game. I'm not mad about it because like clearly they were unprofessional and were referencing this sect of players over here. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's embarrassing to see. I feel bad for them. Like I wasn't as a player like there are people on Twitter who like this shows a lot about what you feel
Yeah,
about all of your players. And I'm just like, no, he was talking clearly to like these people. Like you can play the game and then look at that and be like, wow, that's embarrassing. How dumb. Like I wasn't sitting there like, I cannot believe he said that about me.
yeah,
Oh my god. This is he called me a freeloader and an asshat. I'm just like, I'm just playing a free to play game. It's pretty fun. Some guy got mad at some troll over there. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? But that's my view on it. I don't know. I don't care. I
yeah.
don't
I mean,
get
there's
triggered by
people
these
that are
things.
just looking for that drama too. Like they were leaving comments not because they were actually mad, but because they wanted that kind of response, and they got it. You know,
Yeah,
they're gonna fish for that, and if they get it, they're gonna run to the news outlets and be like, "Hey, look at what the devs just called me," and then
trolling 101.
yeah. Like personally, it's like I'll keep playing Apex. I don't care because I can look at that thread and be
Yeah,
like, you know, they were kind of right. They should have taken the higher road, but ultimately,
could have been
like,
handled better.
yeah, they're not like calling everyone that plays the game just like assholes and dicks and stuff. It's like obviously I see where they're coming from. So at the end of the day, I don't care, but the community at large probably has some issues with it. I think a lot of people who are like me and you would play the game like, yeah, I don't really care. I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah, and
Keep
90% of
playing
the
it.
people who play Apex will never hear about this story or care.
They might see like a
Like,
headline, but ultimately, like
yeah,
they'll just brush
maybe,
off.
and they'll be like, yeah, whatever. Uh, they'll be like, whatever, and then, by the way, they'll text their friends. Anyone want to play fucking Apex? By the way, like, this is on my mind now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Apex is pretty fun. Kind of want to play some this week at some point.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Speaking of that, I come on,
over.
play some fucking Apex.
It goes back to that old adage of
Yeah.
just like any press is good press.
Sometimes, most
Yeah.
of the time.
I mean, even with like the Twitch drama, not gonna name names, don't want to go into it, but it's like people who have had problems, like they're calling, like people are calling for them to get banned or punished or whatever. It's like their followers and viewers like skyrocketed because of it. It's like ultimately, usually when you call like a huge community calls someone out, it's like you would expect them to either get banned by Twitch or have viewers like decline, but because it's still publicity, it's going to boost them up.
Mm-hmm. Tron Travolta in chat says the comeback streams are OP.
That too.
Aren't they? Aren't they? Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine doing something against TOS, but you're partnered so hard that your comeback stream is like a celebratory moment for everybody. And some people don't even have a comeback stream. Some people just stay not banned.
Yeah. You want to have a beef, Saint? We can just start one like off stream, and then we'll both get banned and come back. And
will that get me clout or something? If I start a beef with a big streamer.
Mm-hmm. But you have to do it with a mixer streamer.
All right, Cherno. I'm calling you out. You probably did something. You like anime.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't know if you want to go down that road. Yeah, I don't know if you want to start attacking the anime.
Take it. Anime sucks. How you like it, Cherno?
Somebody clip that and send it to Cherno.
Yeah. I stream on Mix. Actually, I'm actually gonna stream on Twitch again.
Are you?
I made that decision. Back. Yeah. I was playing some Guitar Hero on my Mixer channel the other night, and I was just chilling. I didn't expect any like viewership or anything like that, but like only one person showed up, and I was like, I expected a little bit more than one person, but again, my Mixer's like 20 something followers. But I was like,
that's the way Mixer goes.
I might as well just stream on Twitch and get 3 chatters,
Yeah, it's
fun to chat with people.
That's kind of the issue with most people moving over to Mixer. One, you're losing a huge percentage of your viewer base just right off the bat because they're just not going to follow you over. They're like, hey, I want to stay on Twitch. I don't really care to switch platforms. So it's like that. And then because there's not a whole lot of people on Mixer, you're not really getting new discovery, especially for games like Guitar Hero, where most people are going to go look for Fortnite or Apex or whatever.
Apex, yeah. And like, admittedly, what's my move to Twixer?
Twixer.
I'm just
new streaming platform, Twixer. Coming to you next week.
I made it.
Sponsored by Twix.
Man. Yeah, I was like, you know what? I don't get that many viewers. What's my move really gonna do? Because like, I still have problems with Twitch. And I don't want to support them that much. But at the same time, I'm like, I would like to stream and have chatters. And currently, Twitch is best for my small, humble stream. So, yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some of the bigger streamers on Twitch kind of talk about, Ninja's move because they get constantly asked about it. Like, their thoughts on Ninja moving over and then their own, like, potentially them moving over. And it's just like, I think it was Dr. Disrespect who said, like, why would I want to switch over? Like, their highest channel besides Ninja is a Monster Cat radio that goes 24/7. Like, that's the top of Mixer. And even before Ninja, it's like, if you want the Mixer, the top channel is Monster Cat 24/7 radio. Like, that's not a good look for a streamer looking to move over, especially someone of like that caliber, bringing in tens of thousands of viewers and like thousands and thousands of subs. It's like, your top channel is a radio station. Like, that's not convincing for me. Yeah, there's like the 24/7 stream that does Shrek stuff. It's like,
why wouldn't you move there? Come on.
I want to see Mixer grow and be competitive. It's just like, they need, Ninja was a drop in the bucket. It wasn't even a drop in the bucket. It was like a splash in the bucket. It's like, they need more. They need to buy the top 10, top 20 streamers and move them all over at the same time. Because now if they go and like, they approach, Dr. Disrespect or Dr. Lupo or something, it's like, they're going to have to pay up way more money because they're going to look over at Ninja like, you paid him to move over and it didn't really do anything for him. Like, what are you going to...
Yeah, because
you're going to have to make the offer sweeter.
Moving over.
If you did like the top 10 together, it's like you could pay them each, $20 million. It's like, now they're looking, it's like, now maybe I want $40 million to move over because it's even more of a risk than I thought beforehand. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And I mean, just going to Mixer and browsing, like it doesn't like feel that polished. Even though it's like decent, it just doesn't feel like
Mm-hmm.
that good. Like, and some stuff is really confusing, especially with the currencies. Like, as somebody who looks into stuff and like tries to learn about stuff as I go into something like Mixer, I saw the currencies and even I was just like, fucking what? What is this? Uh yeah, they gotta fix that.
So I
Like Twitch is much more straightforward and
Speaking of
all right, we're
currencies,
here.
maybe you missed
No,
this,
yeah,
but
fuck.
the big news with currencies on Twitch is Twitch sent out an email. It seems to most partners and quite a lot of affiliates as well, which I was kind of surprised. Usually, like if they send out an email like that, it's generally just the partners, even like select partners. But it popped up pretty quick. Even before I saw my own email, I was seeing it in like Discords and stuff. Of Twitch is introducing Twitch Points, which seems to be the rival to Mixer's Sparks. So it's like a free currency
Mhm.
you get while watching a stream, and then I don't.
Which I like
It
about
seems
Mixer.
like they're gonna keep it per chat, and not so Mixer you can get Sparks, which is their free points, like a loyalty point. You can get it for if I watch Saint, for instance, I would get points, and I could go and spend them somewhere else.
Put some pizzas in chat.
Yeah, so this seems more like it's going to be per channel, which is kind of nice. Like, oh, if I watch Saint on Twitch for long enough, I could get so many points and give that to him. And the way Mixer does it is if so many points are given over, I think like a month, or maybe it's like a couple of weeks. It's like if you hit 100 million sparks given to that streamer, they get a payout of X amount of dollars, like $1,000. And if they get 200 million sparks, then they would get, they would hit another goal, so they get a $1,500 payout instead of 1,000. And it seems like maybe that's what they're gonna do for Twitch as well. Like, oh, if chat gives the streamer 100,000 Twitch points, they'll get a payout of $100 or something like that. They haven't really released any info, but that's probably the way it's gonna go. I would like to see it offer a free sub after so many points. Like I've been watching the streamer for so long. Instead of just giving them free points, maybe you can redeem it for a monthly sub or like a 2-week sub or something, like a little trial.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's weird. Oh man.
But then you get into the
Yeah.
issue of people like just AFKing in chat and, just
I was about to
accumulating
say, you
points
could
24/7 and
use-
stuff like that. So it's like Mixer, you can just go sit in Monster Cat's channel and it just gives you tons of sparks, and then your favorite streamer comes online and you can go and give it to him. I think there are some like things in place, so maybe you have to like click on the page every so often or type a message every couple hours, so you can't just
Stuff like
lurk
that
there
can
forever.
get abused
Yeah.
so easily. So it's I would be wary of that if I were Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's in concept, that's like pretty cool.
I mean, that's why Twitch
Yeah, I
did
mean-
like the whole bits for ad stuff. It's like, we'll give you free bits, so you don't have to buy them yourself, but you have to watch an ad, and even that's super like weird if it works or not. Sometimes it'll work for a month and then it won't work for 6 months. But
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see when it rolls out.
We'll see.
They kind of sent out the email, said, hey, this is coming soon. I think because Mixer got a whole lot of news like, hey, we're working on this thing. It's not ready yet, but here's another reason maybe to stay on Twitch instead of trying to move over. I signed up for the beta.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see when it rolls
I mean,
out.
yeah, Sparks were like my favorite part of Mixer because it was just like fun, dumb ways of like, oh, you've been sitting in my chat for a bit. You can spam like a few stickers or something. But I mean, some people might not want that spam either. But like you could do things like, okay, maybe I could have the skills not show up in chat. I actually don't know if that's a capability, but you could have like the little Streamlabs bucket and then the sticker skill things drop in there, and I'm like, oh, that might be fun. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a whole lot Twitch can do because they have Twitch extensions, so you can utilize that. I'm sure there'll be thousands of extensions you can use. And it seems more and more with like every Twitch update that they're kind of going after things like Streamlabs and Stream Elements. They put in your activity feed on your dashboard so you can see when people sub and gift and stuff. And they have notifications on chat now. They started doing extensions to get kind of overlays, and they send you a stream summary after you're done streaming. So it's like, hey, this is your report, which is something, Streamlabs, Stream Elements kind of do as well. You can go to like your channel analytics and get all that past information. And they started a beta. I don't know if it's been released yet, but like starting up your stream so you can like create overlays. It seems more and more like they want to take over that market and cut out Streamlabs and stuff from at least on Twitch, make that maybe for the other platforms. And loyalty points could go hand in hand with, because they have their own auto mod for Twitch, like maybe more Twitch bot stuff. And if they fully integrate it into Twitch, there's a lot they could do with it. It's just how much and when? Like, do we have to wait 2 years to see any new things with Twitch points? Don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? I'm sure there's a lot of like legal and something ramifications. Same with bits.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how is this like a currency or something?
The legal side of bits is still blows my mind of like, you can't consider them currency at all. So if anyone's ever wondered like, hey, I use Streamlabs, why can't I have like, so if you have like a donation goal, you can't include bits into that. Because if they were to allow you to have bits and a donation goal, it'd be counted technically as a currency, and they can't do that. You can't count bits as a currency otherwise. There's some like tax stuff that works. Although it really is a currency when it boils down, because you give 1 bit to a streamer, that's 1 penny they get paid out.
You can't say that.
But like the legal side of things, like you can't consider bits a currency, and like the way you have to deal with that, like as a developer, is super strange. Like for extensions and stuff.
Dude. You just buy bits and then you have bits. It's nothing like a currency. It's nothing like a currency.
So it's like throwing in Twitch points. It's like, how are they'll explain it the same way as bits, but it's just like super.
Here's our other not currency.
Super weird. It's like for the longest time I was like, well, I have a donation goal set up, especially for like charity stuff. Like, why can't I consider bits people give me in chat into this, or subs into this? It's like, oh, because I can't consider them actually currency, because like if you also can't give a monetary exchange. So it's like, if you give me 500 bits, I'll gift you a sub. So you give me $5, I'm essentially giving you $5 in a sub. It's like, you can't do that because you're putting a price on the bits then.
It's like money laundering.
Yeah, it's like you can't
something.
You can say if chat gives us, if chat reaches a goal of 3,000 bits, I'll gift out X amount of subs, but you can't say for 500 bits I'll give you 1 sub. Like, I don't know.
It's
collectively,
a gray area.
But you can't do it like from one individual to the next. It has to be like a stream goal. It's weird. I think you could get around it by saying, if stream gives me 500 bits collectively, I'll gift out a sub to the community, and it's like isolate who you want to give it to based on who gave you subs. But
oh, I'm gonna pick this.
That's some gray area stuff. Yeah.
You can't prove it wasn't random. I'm using my own randomizing program. Yep. And then just keep it hush hush. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a weird whole thing.
Some loopholes in there for sure.
Speaking of weird things, BT.
Whoa, you can't call
weird. Speaking of weird things, you're here.
Yep, I am.
You're weird. They announced The Matrix 4. And they said Keanu Reeves and Trinity actress are going to be in it. I don't remember her name.
Yeah,
man.
When I saw this, I thought it was like an Onion article being put out. I was like, wait, this can't possibly be real, right?
So here's the thing. They have been trying to get a Matrix movie going, like very similar to the Bill and Ted sequel. They have been trying to get a Matrix movie sequel or otherwise going for a while. For a while, they were talking about doing a Morpheus origin story with Michael B. Jordan, which, or as the article originally reported, Morbius, which is a funny typo. But I would watch a fucking Morpheus origin with Michael B. Jordan. That'd be kind of interesting. But yeah, they announced, they said Matrix 4 will start production in 2020 with Neo and Trinity. And I was like, they're both dead.
Yeah.
So what's that all about? And before we get started, I came to the conclusion
Okay.
This would make sense only in one situation. Uh, if it's a sequel and they have new um, red pillars who are being pulled out of the Matrix, maybe there's a training simulation with Neo and Trinity, and they're like, "Oh, this is Neo. Like he was
Oh,
the
so
one."
they're not the main cast. They would be like
Yeah,
kind
that
of
would
they
be my
take over the
guess.
place of
Like,
Morpheus,
yeah, kind of like Mark Hamill in some new Star Wars. It's like, oh, he shows up
Oh,
at
so
the
he
end of Force
dies
Awakens,
like super
but then
early.
he does like some stuff, but he's not like Ray, who's the main character. Like maybe he's just a training or a simulation of like, here's what we think Neo would be like if he didn't fucking die. Definitely. Uh, here's his personality integration, and here's Trinity. Oh, and then people are like, oh, there they are. I remember that, but like they're fucking dead.
or
Um,
or they take it a step further and real like everything we've known was inside of another Matrix.
oh my, oh,
They're
can't
going
take it.
Inception levels of
Oh
Matrix.
my god,
And it
it's
just pulls
so
out. It's
smart.
like, oh, that was a training simulation the whole time. Guess what?
Oh,
You're back where you started.
get Kojima on this. Make him write it. Jeez Louise.
Go ahead, yeah.
But yeah, I
I
saw
don't
that
know.
and I was like, I saw people like posting on Twitter that are just like, oh my god, yes. And I'm just like, did you watch the sequels? to
Yeah.
Matrix?
Have you
like, there are
watched
people,
3?
yeah, like 2. So people
2's
give Reloaded
passable.
a pass, and I'm like, okay, that's fine.
2's got some
Like,
moments in it. I can watch. There's a lot I
it
don't care
does.
for, but it's got some cool moments.
It does. And the first Matrix is like my favorite movie ever. Like literally is my top movie of all time. Um on that note, Reloaded is like, okay, I get it. 3 is just like you can't really defend that.
No.
It's just bad. It's just terrible. I don't know. It's not that great, but I don't know where you would go after that. I don't know. Yeah, just like new characters.
Yeah.
The story's done. I don't know.
That's the confusing part because it's like they fully wrapped up like the story in 3. It's like it's
Pretty much
a terrible
you know?
movie, but they definitely wrap it up. It's like besides going to Inception levels of like, oh, you're inside another Matrix or it was all a dream or something dumb like that, and like rebooting it that way. It's like there's not really a place for a sequel with these same characters. You could go with new characters, but
Yeah.
why and when would you? Like prequels always
I
kind of been the
guess-
thing talked about with Morpheus or like a super young Neo. It's like
Maybe.
I'm not really interested in seeing those, but if you're bringing these characters back and they're playing the same characters and it's not like a prequel, where do you go with this?
Yeah, and Tron Travolta says in chat, like at the very end of Matrix 3, the Oracle and the Architect are in the Matrix talking about something. And like he can't remember, I can't remember. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. Something
Anytime the
important or
architect talks, I don't know
philosophical.
what they're talking about. I just tune
It's
those parts out.
philosophical. It's like the Wachowski sisters. Philosophical bullshit that like is so deep and weird that you really need to watch a video essay to understand
Mhm.
at all this like subtext of what's going on. And it's just like, okay, the Matrix 4 will start with some like bullshit like this is the beginning of the Matrix 2.0 or something. And it's just like, why is that there? Why are humans still plugged in? Like, what's going on?
Mhm.
I'll watch it though.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'll have to pay to watch it because I have to know. And Keanu Reeves will be in it.
Yeah, that's the part
Shit.
I'm most looking forward to because Keanu Reeves is not the greatest actor. I'll say that, especially in the Matrix.
I mean, that's
Matrix
fair.
2 and 3. He's not. The way he acts in those movies isn't great. But I
Well-
feel like, especially with John Wick, it's fair to say he's gotten better at kind of the style that
cool.
he acts. Like he's gotten better in doing that. Like he can portray
Yeah.
things a little better. It's like to stick him back in the Matrix in that same role of Neo. It's like I'm curious of how he's going to handle. Like, is he going to go back to acting like he was in the
What's-
Matrix, or is he going to
what's
carry on his
old
John
Neo
Wick?
like?
Yeah, because if he
He's
showed up,
just gonna beat John Wick.
yeah, he just shows
Or
up basically
Ted.
like John Wick in Matrix 4. It's like, okay, I can get on board with this. Doing kung fu and beating people up.
Yeah. I'm just, you know, Matrix 4 is cool and all. The concept of that is cool and all. I just want to see Keanu Reeves be Ted
Yeah.
again
Well,
in
I
the new
sent you
Ted
that
movie.
picture last night.
Oh yeah,
of
yeah.
Keanu Reeves and Alex getting like guitar lessons from some guy.
Some guy.
Yeah. He
But
posted
that's
a picture.
cool.
He's like, this guy I know, he's like, he just taught Keanu and Alex how to play guitar and shred. So it's like, damn.
I would, yeah, that's cool. I would assume it's training them how to look like they're shredding.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Oh, yeah, for
I'm
sure.
sure they're gonna like try to, they're okay, here's how your fingers need to look like they're moving, or here's how shredding actually works. Because they'll probably like air guitar or some,
I mean, that's what they did in other
or
movies, but
real guitar or some shit. But
yeah.
yeah, that's cool. I'm still looking forward to that movie. Love it, love it. Can't
And
wait.
just seeing them like kind of dressed up more in like polos and stuff and like casual wear.
Yeah,
It's
like dad stuff.
especially Keanu with his hair. I'm gonna link this photo in chat. It's like it looks so different as opposed to like seeing John Wick going full force.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan. They've been wearing those outfits throughout like all the
Mhm.
shooting pictures, so I think that is like their outfits.
Yeah.
Which I like how plain they are. It's just like, yeah, no, we're just dads. And we're aging rock stars that haven't hit. We haven't done our magnum opus yet. Like, I like that. I like that
hmm
character kind of thing.
I still hope one day, maybe Matrix 4 will do this, but like connect all the Keanu Reeves movies in one cinematic
Oh
universe.
my god!
Somehow pull
And
them
make
all
it a
together.
battle royale.
Matrix 4 could do that. It's like you could have them go in the training simulations where he plays all these different characters and realize it's not Neo. It's been Keanu the whole time.
Keanu Reeves simulator.
Mm-hmm. And then
I would
turn
whip
it
that
into
game.
a Matrix game where you just get to play as all those characters in one.
The Matrix Online 2.
Yep.
I played that MMO back in the day. It was pretty bad.
Yeah. It's like right after I saw the news about this, I saw people posting like, does this mean we get another Matrix game?
Oh my gosh. Give me something. I don't know. Give me a fighting game. I don't even
Give
care
me
at this
a
point.
Matrix game that's like Doom 2016, but it's Neo punching Agent Smiths and weird sentience.
Yeah. FPS melee game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down. And yeah, working guns too. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That'd actually be perfect.
Yep, there you go.
A first person shooter and like melee game. Make the melee like if you switch to melee, it goes third person. And then it's like kind of like Arkham kind of thing. I think that'd be great.
Let's do that.
Mix those modules together, the third person, the first person Matrix with like a Max Payne type bullet time.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be good.
Well, speaking of
We'll be at the
Arkham,
idea, guys.
speaking of Arkham, there's another game just like it, Spiderman, who also had some movie news break today.
Oh yeah.
Look at that segue. So it was kind of
the thing.
reported today that Sony and Marvel have kind of split ways, so you won't be seeing Spider-Man really in the MCU anymore.
No.
Which, if anyone's been paying attention to the whole deal, basically, Marvel never had the rights back to Sony or for Spider-Man like they did. They got back for X-Men and Fantastic Four and just flat out buying Fox for their properties or the Hulk from Universal. I don't think they have movie rights to it anymore or publishing rights. They might, which is why they don't do Hulk movies because they don't want Universal to get involved. But Marvel was basically like producing and helping out Sony for Spider-Man. Like, hey, we'll make these movies for you. You get 95% of the revenue. So when Spider-Man comes out, all that movie goes back to Sony. A little bit goes to Marvel and Disney. And in return, they get to use Spider-Man in the MCU, which, is fine. But Disney, being Disney, is like, hey, we want more money for the work we're putting in. We want a 50-50 split on Spider-Man movies going forward. And in return, we'll help you out with your other Spider-Man properties like Venom, the Morbius, Living Vampire of Jared Leto, and they have like a whole slew of things they're trying to produce. Like, we'll help you out with those, but we want 50-50 split on these movies. And Sony's like, nope, we're good. And yeah, that's basically how it went down. It's like, no, apparently they didn't even do a counter offer. Like, no, what if we make it 25-75? It's like, there's like, you want 50-50? Now we're done. And just walked away.
Let's start at 50-50. No! Throws the table over, leaves.
Yeah. So for the
I'm like,
foreseeable future,
right.
you know, we'll still have, I think Tom Holland's still contracted for 2 movies with Sony. So it's like, they'll probably still produce a follow-up from Far From Home.
Try it.
I think they have the same director contracted as well, but it's like they can't reference the MCU stuff in Spider-Man, and then the MCU can't reference Spider-Man at all. So it's like they do another Avengers in 2 years. It's like, well, what happened to Spider-Man? Like they legally can't even say, oh, Spider-Man died.
He never shows up.
It's like they can't even reference what happened to Peter Parker or anything. It's like they just have to completely ignore it, which is super
move
weird.
Forward.
Yeah, people are like, how are they going to explain this in the MCU? It's like they legally can't. They can't explain it. They don't have the rights to them anymore.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
movie magic.
It is quite crazy.
I think it's decent for Sony, even though Sony doesn't make the best movies by themselves. But like, you have a lot of Spider-Man villains to work with.
I mean, for Sony, it makes complete sense not to give up that money.
Yeah,
at all, because you know they just saw Venom make $800 million. That wasn't helped out by the Kevin Feige or Marvel in any capacity. They're like, we just did that with Venom, and that was a shitty movie.
And that sucked, but
yeah.
Look at us go.
It's like Spider-Man Far From Home was Sony's biggest grossing or highest grossing movie of all time. It's like, why would we give up half of that money? You know, when we can take this, and it's like, even if we don't have the same quality, people are still going to go watch the movie and give us money for it. They're still going to give us $800 million. So it's better to have $800 million than half of $1 billion. So we get 800 instead of 500. It's like, yeah. But
I think it's still weird to not even try to negotiate like a very favorable thing before saying fuck off.
Yeah.
That is weird.
I think just with those two numbers, Sony's just like, basically if they ever ask for more money, it's like, we're just going to say no, because Marvel still has,
like historically,
Disney still has the rights to like merchandise and stuff. So that's where they would make their money back. So it's like, we'll help out with this movie and you can take 95% of the profits, but we get the rights to like merchandising. So you see a lot of Spider-Man toys and stuff like that pop up because that's how they made their money. It's like, they still have that, but you know, Sony's like, yeah, we think you have a pretty good deal. You know, we're not going to negotiate a better one. And then Disney came along and was like, hey, what if we take a huge cut from this profit? They're gonna.
Would you like that?
Yeah.
But have you seen Far From Home?
I still haven't, to be honest.
Me neither.
I want to so bad. I haven't. There's so many movies I want to watch right now. I haven't found time. I'm so sad.
Do you want to do like a weekly movie book club, a movie club where we watch a movie on our own time, then talk about it?
Maybe we'll have to talk about it.
All right, we'll talk about it offline. Everyone, shut up.
Subscribe to our Patreon. Give us $20 a month.
Wait, we have a fucking Patreon?
No, we don't.
Wait, I've just learned about this.
We will after this.
Where's all this money?
Don't
going?
you dare ask for a 50-50 split, Saint. I will cut you.
I
will cut you out of this deal so fast.
I want 5% of the
oh my god
with the money.
I give you 1% and you want 5. Jesus Christ! You give a
mouse
mouse
$1 billion. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, it's super sad to see, but
yeah, that's weird.
At the same time, you know,
I like Spider-Man. Like, despite not having seen Far From Home, I actually like Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm not sad. I'm saddened by him leaving the MCU, but I'm more upset about what's going to happen when he's just in Sony's hands, because we've seen Sony do Spider-Man in 5 different movies. We've had
Sony movies,
the Tobey Maguire, or is his name Tobey Maguire? Yeah, Tobey Maguire once, and then the Andrew Garfield once. It's like we've seen Sony do Spider-Man. I don't need to see Sony do. We've seen Venom. I don't want Venom again. I don't want Venom 2 with Andy Serkis directing. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I maybe we'll get Venom and Spider-Man in the same movie now, which could be okay. But even then, I don't really want to see Sony do it, because the MCU. Well, I just want to say him leaving the MCU. Marvel already announced their stuff for Phase 4, and like they still have to introduce
Their entire plan.
the Fantastic Four and X-Men and all these other characters. It's like they have so many to draw from. Losing Spider-Man, it hurts, but it opens the doors for, you know, other characters to pop up and fill that void, which is cool. So it's like we may not have Spider-Man in the future, but now they may move up X-Men movies, or they may move up Fantastic Four, or Deadpool may get introduced, or hey, maybe they'll bring back Daredevil in his place, because Daredevil and Spider-Man often interacted and shared some villains, like Kingpin.
Daredevil show was canceled, so
there are rumors that's coming back.
Oh, really?
For a Daredevil show is coming back for FX, because Disney acquired FX in the Fox merger. So it's been hinted that there'll be a new Daredevil show to some capacity, but it hasn't been confirmed. So. And I don't think technically they can use those same the same actors in those character roles until like 2021. So it's like if they rebooted soon, it'd be different characters. But I think they said like Finn Jones playing Iron Fist isn't coming back at least, so they may just scrap it and get a whole new cast in. Who knows?
Yeah, I just don't want to see more like Sony producing their own shit has historically not been great. Just to name a few, Venom.
You could just stop there.
Yeah, Ghostbusters 2016, Escape Room.
Wait, which one is Escape Room? I might fight you on this one. Which one? Did they do the one we watched in the movie group?
Are you really gonna go to the plate for Escape Room? 2019. It's not the one we watched on our movie night. It's the one you watched by yourself.
It's not that bad.
All right.
It's watchable. It's got some cool moments.
All right.
I'd rather watch that than Venom.
Venom.
The ice lake thing, yes, Tron, that one. The bar scene, oh my god, that is awesome. The ending is stupid and should not exist. So they're trying to set up like a sequel and stuff. But Escape Room, it's got some good moments.
What about Adam Sandler's Jack and Jill?
Yeah.
That's the thing. The Interview. I actually thought the Interview was good on my first viewing, but we watched it, I think at a GDQ, or no, we watched it for a movie night. And like in the first 20 minutes, we were just like, this is not a good, funny movie at all. Like, were you there for that?
No. I've never seen that Interview.
That movie sucks.
Okay.
It was, I thought it was funny the first time through, but the Interview is not funny. I'm over Seth Rogen's comedies personally.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That's just one gamer's opinion. And what do I know?
I mean, Sony's shown they're capable in some movies, like they did Into the Spider-Verse, which I still haven't watched either. It's one of the ones I put on my list of, it's like, everyone says it's like the best version of Spider-Man to like ever exist and stuff.
Yeah. I want to watch it.
So it's like they just decide to go like cheap on directors and try to just push out garbage movies like Ghostbusters or Venom.
But that could always change.
Yep.
To be fair.
It could.
Speaking of being cheap, GameStop just laid off, what was it, over 120 employees?
Yeah, 120 or 14% of their staff. And the corporate staff.
Yes. Including some journalists over at Game Informer. Sadly, I think it was 6 or 7 people. Which is really, really unfortunate because personally, I'm a big fan of Game Informer. They are one of my like reliable game journalists out there. Like they still publish a fucking magazine now. That's like pretty fun to like look at now and then.
It's like, oh yeah, like, look at that thing that doesn't exist anymore.
Every once in a while, like I'll pick up a Game Informer magazine and be like, this is a fucking magazine. I remember when I like used to order like Game Informer, the official Sega Dreamcast magazine, PlayStation magazine. Magazines were pretty nice and they still put them out and they're still like decent.
All right,
but they also put out some good.
I'm going to side rant for a second just to fit this in with magazines. I see this pop up a lot with automatic driving, like becoming a thing, like robots taking over driving, and how it's going to put truckers out of business. It's like, oh, everyone's complaining that this huge workforce is going to be, you know, basically laid off and replaced. But no one cared when the internet took away magazines and newspapers and
No,
all
no
the
one
stuff.
did.
It's like, because it made your life better, you don't care about that workforce that basically is non-existent now. But because it's going for automatic driving, you suddenly care. It seems, I don't know, side rant
But
that doesn't matter.
side rant to your side rant. You've been reading a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Okay.
not just read that on a computer? You know.
So I already had the book.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
You know, you pay
If I
like
didn't have the book,
$12 a
yeah.
year to get $12 a year to get 12 magazines.
I did
It's
look
just
into
like,
the
okay.
audiobook, but I realized it would take 20 hours to listen to, and I could just read it in 10. So,
Well, aside for magazines is like a side thing,
yeah.
but like Game Informer is I like them. I like them for their YouTube content. They actually do some really cool stuff. Like they'll do like 120 rapid fire questions with Ed Boon when the new Mortal Kombat came out. Like they got Ed Boon to like say a bunch of funny stuff. It's like, oh, they're in there. They're doing some entertaining stuff. So a lot of good journalists got laid off, and that made me really sad because I'm a big fan of Game Informer. I'm not a fan of many game journalist sites or places, but I was sad to see it. And yeah, I think it's just a result of GameStop not the
Yeah.
physical gaming market not being as much of a thing anymore.
I mean, we've definitely seen GameStop like close down shops and then like try to restructure stuff. They had that idea of like, hey, well, maybe we'll turn into more like a local thing where you can bring and have like Smash tournaments and stuff like that in stores. I don't know if they've fully gone through with that, but definitely looking at restructuring. So seeing a layoff isn't surprising in the slightest, but
No,
I want to
it's
be
just like
surprised to
a
see the people from
side
Game
effect.
Informer maybe go and create their own group. We've seen it with many other companies shut down.
Like Giant Bomb
Giant Bomb,
came from the ashes of I can't remember, GameSpot.
something like
I
that.
think
Yeah.
that's where Giant Bomb came from.
People from Machina left and created their own stuff. People from IGN have left and created their own like YouTube channels and like podcasts and stuff. So I want to be surprised if we see some of those Game Informer people either go and join those crews potentially or create their own in the near future.
I think GameStop also like in the past has talked about selling retro games. Like you could bring your retro games in for credits and they would sell those. That was like 2 years ago. I don't know if they ever actually did that.
Probably not.
Probably not. It's they had like a lot of weird plans for GameStops that I don't think they ever really did. Because once they looked into like the logistics of handling it, they were like, "Oh, this is actually something that stupid individual stores should do." Like running a Magic tournament is very involved, and like card stores like do that really well. So GameStop probably looked into that, and they were probably like, "Oh, this is actually a lot. This is a lot that we have to do."
Speaking of Magic
Like
the
weird stuff
Gathering,
like that.
Magic the Gathering Arena is announced to be switching over to the Epic Game Store, which is weird. But it was announced during Gamescom Opening Night Live, which happened yesterday. Which we, once again, if you weren't here at the beginning of the stream, we co-streamed it. It's up on YouTube now if you want to go watch our full reactions. It's a little over 2 hours long. 25 games were they weren't announced, but quite a few of them were new things we hadn't heard about, some things talked about. So there was Death Stranding shown off. I'm just going to list them all, and then we can go back and talk about them individually if we want. Little Nightmares 2, Remothered, Porcelain Doll, Kerbal Space Program 2, a game called Erica, Call of Duty Modern Warfare was shown off, Humankind's Comanche, Need for Speed Heat, Magic the Gathering going over to Epic, Witcher 3 Switch like port date revealed. So we already know it's happening, but it got the date. Iron Harvest, Disintegration, The Cycle, Life is Strange 2 Episode 4, I think it was, Borderlands 3. Saw some more gameplay of Everspace, FIFA 20, which we're all so excited about. Guilt, which we talked about a little earlier, Destiny 2, expansion, something or another. Gears 5, Monster Hunter World, Iceborne, another expansion, and Predator Hunting Grounds. I think that's all of them. I may have missed one or two.
Humankind, which was the weird civilization kind of type game with the caveman in space on making EDM beats, flying over humankind on Earth. That's supposed to be like a competitor to the Civilization series. I thought that was kind of interesting. There was a lot of RTS related stuff.
There's like 3 RTSs like back to back It's like,
It's
okay.
like I thought this genre was dying. I mean, it's cool they're making new ones. I'm
and
not.
we just had
into
Age
it,
of Empires get remastered on Steam. Like that just came out like 2 days ago, as
Yeah,
well. So it's like RTS is kind of making a comeback. It seems like. Yeah, just some titles in there I didn't really expect to see. Kerbal Space Program 2 popped up. Like I didn't think they'd ever make a sequel to that game. So it just kept on living. Little Nightmares 2, which was the biggest surprise for me. Like that's super awesome.
pretty neat.
Yeah. And then Remothered Porcelain Doll is a sequel to a horror game I'd never heard about, so I'm gonna have to like go back and look up what other Remothered was originally. It came out like last year.
Yeah, it's the first we both of us heard of that game. We're like, what the fuck is Remothered? And
Yeah, they're like the
apparently
best.
it came out in 2018.
A sequel to the best horror game of 2018. It's like, wait, what?
I guess they could just put that in their trailer, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, there's been quite a few games that were shown off at Gamescom, whether it's through like the Nintendo Direct or Xbox's own conference. That wasn't at the opening night, but it had things like Ghost Runner, which is a pretty cool
Ghost Runner.
Mirror's Edge, Titanfall, Dishonored game. So it's like has
It's
the
like a
running of like
first-person
Titanfall
ninja
and Mirror's
game.
Edge. Yeah, looked pretty dope.
That's pretty cool.
See a lot of gameplay
Yeah,
pop
that's
up
pretty
of
cool.
stuff like Blair Witch. It's like anything that's kind of coming out soon. They, devs are showing it off more and more. It's like,
Yep.
here's an extra 15 minutes of gameplay for you to look at. But I haven't really been keeping up with what wasn't at opening night live. So I'm sure there's something out there that's pretty cool.
I wanted to throw one out there.
Okay.
The Surge 2 had some gameplay shown, which, if you don't know what the Surge is, the Surge came out in like 2016, I want to say, early 2016, and it's basically Dark Souls, but you're in like a mech suit
Okay.
and you kill robots and add to your mech suit. It was did not live up to my expectations. I did not like it that much, but there's a sequel. Maybe it'll be better. But
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, fucking Surge 2? Huh?
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to happen, but all right. They apparently showed that not on the opening night live thing.
Hmm.
So that's there.
Yeah, like the
Keep
whole
my
event.
eye on it.
Just to recap kind of our stream yesterday for anyone who missed it and doesn't feel like watching 2 hours. It's kind of what we thought it'd be. It's a step up from the Video Game Awards, just cutting out the filler in between announcements, and then a step down from E3 of being this huge mega conference that goes over a couple days, just being like one night, 2 hours. It's like, hey, here's some indie stuff and some bigger titles about, like Destiny kind of expansion and whatnot. So,
And then they capped it.
I was just gonna say,
go ahead.
they'll probably do this every year from now on, which is kind of cool. We get some more announcements throughout the year instead of just, the big one at E3 and kind of smaller ones at the Video Game Awards, or if Nintendo decides to do a direct, it's like more collective, like smaller groupings of like, here's a whole bunch of indie devs kind of showcasing their games at the same time, and then some big AAA stuff. I think that's cool.
Yeah. Definitely. And interestingly enough, they still fit in awards.
Yeah.
Like this video game awards type thing. Like they just the girl who was like interviewing people every once in a while, she would like rapid fire a bunch of cards, be like, so we have awards for this best thing of this. And it was like games that haven't come out yet were getting awards for things.
Mhm.
It was just like, what is this from? Like, what is this based on? Like Link's Awakening for Switch that's not out yet. Best game of 2018. Or 2019. It's just like, what are you high? Like, what's happening?
Well, they handed
am I
out 2 awards,
watching?
like one to a Microsoft employee. I don't remember what game it was for like best game on the Xbox, and then they gave one to a Link's Awakening for best Nintendo Switch game. It's like, the game's not even out yet, and you're giving it an award for the best game. It's like, what? This
Doom Eternal got one for something.
Yeah, and then they just
I was like, that's also not out.
They handed out the 2 awards like physically to those people, and then the rest were just like, here, we're just gonna read these off a card. Like,
it was not clear what was going on at all. I felt like I was going insane. I was like, wait, is this the Game Awards? What's happening?
Yeah.
But they just picked. It was probably industry professionals picked something.
It's just Jeff Keighley. He's just like, yeah, these games will be coming out.
It's just Jeff doing whatever the fuck he wants, I guess.
Yeah, and speaking of Jeff doing whatever he wants, he brought out Kojima with a heartfelt video that he apparently edited himself.
That was weird.
Yeah, like I get that he's someone you admire and he's like your friend and stuff, but it's
so yeah,
it's so over the top now It's like what is happening? But he's in Death
I
Stranding.
kind of get it.
Uh,
I kind of get it because like, so for those who didn't watch it, before they had Kojima come on for the Death Stranding gameplay or the trailers, multiple trailers actually. Um, Jeff introduced Kojima with this montage reel of like the past 4 game awards where Kojima either showed up or didn't show up, and it was like this hype montage of Jeff Keighley and Kojima like being best bros.
But it wasn't even like Kojima in response. It was just like Jeff Keighley like talking about Kojima. It's like, yeah, you can't be here
Yeah.
tonight because of stuff. And it's like, and welcome back, my friend Kojima, to the stage and like all this stuff. It's like Kojima appeared in the video, but it was more Jeff talking about him. And it's like loving man.
Yeah.
It's like, I
And I
honestly
guess they
thought it
are,
would
like,
end in
good
a proposal.
friends.
I thought he was going to ask him to marry him on stage.
He loves him. It's
Yeah.
actually crazy. I mean, like, maybe they are good friends. I don't know, but yeah, that was a little strange. But like, I don't know. I kind of get it because never mind. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I won't pretend. I won't pretend I know it. But Kojima came out and they showed 2 cinematics for 2 characters. One was Mama, who's this character who nurses babies who are in the afterlife dimension.
I think
And
it was
we
her
still don't know
own
much
baby.
about
I don't think it was like all. I think it was just like hers. Her baby was born on the other side.
her baby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And that's
And-
why she's
yeah.
stuck in whatever place she's in working on something. And then there was a cinematic for the bridge baby, like the concept of why is there a baby or why do people have babies? And they're like, the babies are the connection to the afterlife. And sometimes they get stressed out and you got to put them in this little machine that emulates being in a womb.
Mhm.
Also, the womb is in this city somewhere, so we can't really go there, but we can download data from the womb, and you charge up your baby, and it's just like,
Uh,
what?
I think
What's going on?
there's like a central like these take care of the babies usually, but you can take them away and put them in these pods.
Yeah,
So like whenever the main hub for the babies like updates like, oh, this is a better way to do it, it's like you can link your baby to it and it'll adjust accordingly if it gets stressed out. And they're
and it helps you detect BTs, which I think are the like
yeah,
demons essentially.
it seems like the babies are mainly just used for tools for like you said, detecting the bad guys or seeing stuff from the other worlds. So it's like if you think about Stranger Things being the Upside Down, it would help you find the creatures of the Upside Down. Like,
Oh, okay.
this is because like in the previous trailers and gameplay, we've seen like the light flashing and it like shows the people moving around or like the baby hands moving on the surface.
Yeah, there's like
footprints. It's like I think
handprints.
because the baby is like controlling that, it's like powering the light, which allows you to see it. Is
yeah.
what I got from it.
Yeah, there's still like it's still not totally clear because they haven't shown like gameplay pertaining to like the BTs or the terrorists that you'll be fighting, but they did show gameplay, riveting gameplay
Riveting.
of peeing, walking, more ladder technology, which I'm a big fan of, and they revealed that you have delivery missions,
Mm-hmm.
and doing delivery missions will get you something,
It
but it's not clear
you
what.
connect people, so it
Through strands.
it looks like it takes place in a futuristic United States. Like kind of like showed the map.
the UCA.
Yeah, and like you have to
United
connect
Cities of
people on the
America.
East Coast to the people on the West Coast. So you're going to take your time traveling across, and you connect the different settlements with your deliveries. Looks like the base gameplay is, and then like because you
Oh my
connect the
God.
settlements, you know you can access different technology. I'm sure, and yeah, I think it looks
It's
boring.
weird. I just had a thought. And we
You
were
are a
talking about it
thought.
before. I'm a thought. I'm having a thought.
Mhm.
You were talking about how they did a little like jump cut because there was a lot of walking to get
Mhm.
him to the like place he was going a little faster. They did show a map at some point where they're like you connect the East Coast to the West Coast through these strands. Like you deliver something or you talk to somebody and it creates a network. What if you have to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast by walking, and it's all real distance?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure that's the gameplay.
And it literally takes like 300 hours to complete.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
I wouldn't be surprised either. That'd be some shit.
Yeah, you gotta walk around, find your own house where you live, and connect yourself to it. And
No,
everyone
you
who
just
connects
walk
themselves to
literally-
your own character, gets put into the game.
How long to walk across USA? 4 to 5 months. So it might take you that long to beat the game. But that's just a game theory. So yeah, they didn't show off too much, but Jeff Keighley's in the game, which was
Not
funny.
voiced in the game. He's
Not voiced. Voiced by McCree from Overwatch. I forget his name.
Mark. No, Mark something.
Hamill. No,
Marcus.
what the fuck is his name?
I can't remember.
He's really good.
Marcus.
Matthew Miller.
Matthew Miller.
Matt Miller.
Matt Mercer.
Matt Mercer. His real name's not Matt Mercer.
His real name is Mark Marcus.
His his real name's Matthew Christopher Miller.
Mm.
He's a liar. My God. Yeah, Matt Mercer. Jeff Keighley, voiced by Marky Mark Mercer.
That's so strange to me. It's like, hey, we're gonna put you in this game, but we're gonna have you voiced by somebody else. Like,
yeah, but yeah, what they showed off, it was. Just
I guess
more
they
like
don't want that DJ situation from Mortal Kombat.
Oh my God, the
Sub-Zero.
Mortal Kombat had a DJ for a Sub-Zero skin, and his voice acting is atrocious. It's hilarious.
I love that they left it in though. Like, yeah, that's his voice.
Yeah.
It's him doing the lines.
I have killed you by ice spike or something. And it's just like, what the fuck did I just hear? But yeah, the gameplay they showed off was kind of like the same walking sim luggage delivering shit, but with urinating revealed. The first thing revealed was peeing after a nap, which was funny, but I was like, that's very Kojima-esque. Because like when you're peeing, it also brings up like how many milliliters you have in your bladder and like how many milliliters of pee you would have in your body to display is like something very like OCD Kojima-esque to put in a fucking video game. I was like, okay. I mean,
as long
that's
as
kind
that
of funny.
meter never gets to 0, because you're not ever gonna get all of the pee out of your body.
Oh, that's a good point.
So if it gets down to 0, that's a lie.
That's a critique. Yeah, you'll have some drippy drops in there. You gotta have the decimals showing a little bit going on there. But yeah, I feel like there's still like there is combat in the game that they've showed. Not a lot, but it was with like terrorists. Like you punch them with your luggage or some shit.
Also, the backpack he carries
great.
was like 3 times as big as
It's
him.
huge.
I was like, how do you
got
possibly?
back problems?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still like wary of it, but optimistic. As long as it's interesting. Like I'm not expecting Metal Gear Solid. I never was, but as long as there's something interesting going on, because it's as it stands, it just kind of looks like walking. But I'm sure there's shitloads of cinematics to explain context of what's going on.
Like I've never really played the other Metal Gears, but I've heard enough about them. I feel like this is going to be you walk from one spot to the next. Once you make a delivery, you get a cinematic based on that area and that character, or you get like a
very
big
movie-like,
big story one. So it's like you have big story, movie-esque cutscenes, and then in between you're just kind of walking around exploring this desolate world. Maybe hiding from the terrorists and stuff. Maybe there's some combat, like we haven't really seen it, so it's kind of hard to talk about that. But it's like to me, it's like I don't want to just like walk from movie to movie. Like personally, that doesn't interest me. Like every instance of gameplay I've seen from this like puts me more and more off of it. One, it's a PS4 game exclusively, so I'm just not going to play it because I don't have a PS4 and I'm not going to buy one.
Yeah.
But it's like if I was hyped for it, it's like every time I've seen gameplay, it's like for me, story in a game is great, but I put gameplay way ahead of it. If the gameplay is boring,
but
it's not interesting. I don't care about like the story can be absolute garbage, but if the gameplay is fun, I'm still gonna have a good time. If the gameplay is terrible, but the story is like or even great, it's like, well, I'm not really having fun, so I don't really like it brings down the story because I'm not personally having fun with the game. So
I think
I know I'm
Go
not
ahead.
like a lot of people are more towards the story. So it's like if the gameplay is lackluster, they can get around that because they just want to experience things. It's like for them, that's fine. But for me, this game looks like the complete opposite of what I would want from a game. It's like it's hard for me to watch any gameplay and be like, well, maybe that's not the case. It's every instance I've seen, it's like, okay, no, it just kind of reaffirms my position of like, not interested,
Hmm.
not interested, not interested. Um,
I always so they said it was definitely open world, and what comes to mind for me is like it needs to be like Breath of the Wild in terms of you can wander around as like you have a general objective, but you can wander around and hopefully run into something interesting or like you're always doing something. Like it's almost never boring in Breath of the Wild. I would want something like that in this game. Like I don't know what those things that you're going to run into are,
mhm.
but before Breath of the Wild came out, I didn't like I had the same feeling. I was like, so it's open world, like what do you do
Yeah.
exactly? But then the game came out, I played it and I was like, I'm always like engaged in something that's not required. So I would hope it has something like that to where it's not just like go to this destination and hit a cinematic, go to this destination. Like if there's interesting things happening, that'd be nice. I never played Metal Gear Solid 5, so I don't know how that open world kind of worked out. Or that sandbox world, I don't know.
So I wanted
But
to
I
talk about something in chat. Mana brought up a point of it. The box for the game doesn't say it's a PS4 exclusive anymore, and
no.
this happened quite a while ago, but it's because it's going to bridge the gap between PS4 and PS5. So they can't say it's a PS only on PS4 when it's going to bridge the gap to the next
Mm,
generation. Because it's like, oh, it's a PS4
interesting.
exclusive, but we're also going to have it on the PS5. So they had to take that off the box. Um, it's not necessarily that they're going to port it to other systems because Sony's not. They're not going to buy an exclusive right to a game and then give that up somewhere in development. Like, oh, we had the exclusive right for this game. They're not going to suddenly be like, well, let's put it on PC and Xbox and all this stuff, other stuff, because you don't see that with Last of Us. You don't see that with God of War, Spiderman, all this stuff. It's like clearly they want to keep their exclusives on their platform. So if it says it's not a PS4 exclusive anymore, it's because they're bridging the gap for the next generation system, which will probably be
Hmm.
announced, next year and come out maybe next winter, which is more than likely, when a lot of the big games like Last of Us are going to drop. Like you want to
Hmm.
call Breath of the Wild a Wii U exclusive because it's also on the Switch.
Yeah, it was intended for. Oh, I think Breath of the Wild was intended for the Wii U initially, but then they put it on the Switch as well. I can't remember which way it was for that, but that's interesting. I didn't know that about Death Stranding, and the
Mm-hmm.
PS5 is like right on the cusp of being
Yeah,
announced. What was the console at E3 that they teased? That was whatever
that was
Xbox
Xbox.
was
Yeah,
working on. Okay,
the
SSDs.
Project Scarlet. That
Yeah,
we're going to talk about it, but not tell you anything actually about it. Other than that, there's
we learned what
SSDs.
SSDs are.
Yeah.
Yeah, load times will be fast now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Well,
Gamescom. There's some cool stuff there.
that was kind of the big news for this week. So I think it's a good wrapping up point until next week. But
Yes.
you got any big plans you get involved in? We got submissions coming up, which we talked about.
Yeah.
No, you're taking a little break from the Twitters.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, cutting off a little social media. I'm just like, I'm very overwhelmed with a lot of things, work, hobbies, and
Moving.
otherwise. Moving, especially. And I was just like, I just need to not be on Twitter for now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'll probably be record some sort of commentary for my friend Pedro, submit that, and play some Spec Ops: The Line. Shoutouts to Judgy, he gave me a code for that. I really want to play that. Spec Ops: The Line, I've heard very good things about. And speaking of Kojima, very I've heard through the grapevine there are some Metal Gear Solid 2 vibes with that game in terms of like twists and weird things with the story. So I'm excited to just play that. So I'll
Hmm.
probably play that. And then
Some WoW Classic,
try to
maybe.
start probably Control before WoW
Okay.
Classic. Because that does come out this week?
Comes out in a week. Comes out next Tuesday.
In 1 week. Yeah,
Yep.
on the 27th. So probably Spec Ops: The Line and Metal Gear Solid 4. Play some of that for PS3 because I've been putting that off.
Sounds like a good plan of sorts.
Yes. What about you, BT? What are you doing?
I'm getting more into Rage 2. Probably gonna do an Absolov run. Maybe even after this, like tonight, like later tonight, once I get things sorted out, get my record back, try out that new skip, and then diving into Rage 2, getting the runs down some more, see if I enjoy it. Think about that 5th submission, whether, now that I know Blair Witch comes out 30th, maybe just hold off and see if that's a good run, good game. I'm still, like, I go through this every week. I'm still trying to figure out where I want to take my stream and my games. It's like, I also want to go back and try the Penumbra mods for Amnesia, kind of extend the story, do those for runs. Kind of getting back in, like I did some Penumbra runs the other day and I was like, oh, maybe I should look into those as potential runs as well. Because they'd be broken as shit because they're in the HPL engine. But, yeah, frictional games, their engines are just broken. So they're mods for Amnesia, so you can just clip through basically any wall you want.
I was about to say you just go out of bounds.
Yeah, doing that stuff. There are some annoyances with Rage I didn't talk about before, maybe next week, but there's like keybind issues I'm trying to get sorted out, so I'm trying to message the devs to see if they can look into it.
Really?
That whole situation
into the release?
Yeah, like if you rebind your keys, like your movement keys, you can rebind them for vehicles as well, but certain vehicles won't fully take the new keybinds and will still default to WASD. Well, they'll use W and S for forward and back, but they'll keep your changes for left and right. So I was running into the problem where S, for me, because I use ESDF, I just shift over one, ended up being back and left. W was forward and F was right, and you can't fly that way. W would also get me out of the vehicle, so if I tried to move forward to get me out of it, so I had to switch everything back to WSD and change things. I'm actually gonna make.
I forgot your.
I'm probably gonna make a video about my setup compared to WSD because I always forget how different it really is. But like when I have to go back to WSD, like when I had to change everything back in Reach 2, of just how big of an annoyance that is for me. Like it really makes me realize the difference in my setup. So it's like, because a lot of people ask about like, oh, why do you use that? And it's like, generally it's a preference thing, but I feel like making a video, like maybe other people realize, hey, I want to switch to, because I've convinced some of our friends to switch over. Like DeGaulle uses ESDF for like Apex Legends and stuff now.
It's not different, but it's just different enough.
Yeah. It doesn't really seem like different. It's like, oh, I just slip everything over, but it would take like a whole video to explain, because it's like you can reload. So I put, if you want to think about it, A on reload. So it's like if I'm moving around in the world, I don't have to give up a movement key to reload. I don't like normally you'd bring up like your index finger to hit R or something like that. So I can shift my pinky from shift on sprint to being on A, so I don't have to give that up at all. And stuff like that. But like I said, maybe I'll get around to making that. May work on that in my downtime, but that's really all I got coming up for me. So thank you guys for watching episode 44 of the podcast. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, anywhere where RSS feeds are available. You can also check us out on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/BloodThunder. Should take you there. You can also check us out on Twitter if you want to follow us for the latest news. If we do like co-streaming stuff, we announce what times and when we're going to do those. If you want to ask us questions that you're like, hey, I found this topic interesting, I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it, you can just tweet it at us personally, leave it on Discord somewhere, or tweet it to our Blood Saint and Beers Twitter handle, or you can go to our website, bloodsaintandbeers.com, for all your Blood Saint Beers needs. So
it's there for a reason.
Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week. Good night.
I love you.